Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We made it. My name is Will Spalding. As always, I am joined by Sam Dierberger. Sam, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Will Spalding?
Fantastic. I'm doing great. You know, we finally made it to the point where we can say we watched the 2021 Academy Awards. And
Yes.
it feels good. We can, it feels like we can finally move on from last year. This is the last major thing of the previous year's movies. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about this because it seems like we kept having, even on the show, we kept having these periods of like, all right, we're looking forward to 2021 now. We're putting 2020 behind us. And then we keep going back and forth. We do a 2020 Wrapped episode. Then we do a Golden Globes episode.
yeah.
And we're here.
We do a 2020 Oscar nominations episode, and
That's right. We did do one of those.
and we finally make it to this. And before we're gonna break it all down. We're gonna break down a majority of the categories. We'll at least hit on most of them.
Yeah.
Talk about the interesting ones for sure. We'll break down the award ceremony as well. I don't think we'll do. We won't do any industry news. I'm not even aware of any. I don't think we'll do recommendations either. There's a lot of good movies in here we'll talk about that everyone should check out.
Right.
But yeah, so let's just get right into it. First off, Sam, I want to ask you how do you think the ceremony went? Not speaking any awards here, but just the ceremony in general. It looked a lot different this year. But how did it go?
Yeah, I should say so. I mean, I know I texted you this last night as we were watching. We're currently recording this Monday afternoon. And yeah, the first was just the shock of seeing a different venue.
Yeah.
You're so used to the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. And I don't even know what this venue was called. It was like a dinner club.
Yeah, it had a Globes feel. It had a Globes feel for sure.
It was very Globesy, yes. But it had a lot of natural light, which was strange.
I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
It was a different,
I did too.
Different change of scenery, good change of pace.
Yeah. And I liked the if you looked at each of the guests' tables, they had these like they're kind of like garden lamps, to like show faces as the day got darker.
Right.
Kind of clever. I can only imagine how many cameramen they had fit into that relatively small space.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously.
Pretty wild. Yeah. But what did you make of that venue?
I liked it. I mean, obviously we'll be back at the Dolby next year, so it's not like this is here to stay, but I thought it was good. They've done this for a few years now, but I like no host.
Yep.
We just get presenters, and that's fine enough. But yeah, I thought the venue was fine. I thought the show was put together well enough. It ran a little long, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have cut out of that, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty smooth night.
No, I appreciate the brevity of it. It was actually, I thought it was relatively brief compared to what it is most years.
Sure.
And they also have been doing this lately for the last several years, is they really mix up the order. And we'll get into this more in depth, obviously.
Yeah.
Later, but they like to mix up the order. So they'll have, best supporting actress announced very early, to kind of retain interest in the show throughout. Because I think traditionally they just got through the less significant awards early on.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
They definitely mixed it up a lot this year, which I was surprised by. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I thought I had a theory, and that theory got shoved out the window, which we'll talk about later. But
Yeah.
it was definitely different for sure. They did something that I didn't think would happen. They mixed a lot up. So I thought the whole thing was good though. I thought it was good. Should we get into there's going to be a lot to talk about here, Sam. Should we get into it specifically?
Yeah. Let's get into the awards probably.
So should we go by order or just kind of importance?
We can go. Well, it's up to you. We could do in order. That's fair.
Okay. Well, we'll go in order then. So we started off the night, shockingly, by original screenplay, which is usually nearer the end.
Yeah.
And I was shocked by it. You know, we had like a tracking shot of Regina King kind of entering the theater.
Yeah.
And then she's just presenting an award right away. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. All right. And we had original screenplay. Of course, that going to Promising Young Woman. I think its competitor was Trial of Chicago 7, and Trial obviously did not win.
Right.
Sam, any thoughts here? Emerald Fennell got an Oscar.
Yeah, that was probably the most significant upset early on, and that's not even saying much because she was, Promising Young Woman was definitely in the conversation. I think the favorite was Trial of Chicago 7, but
yeah, one of those two.
No, yeah, but again, it wasn't a terrible shock, and you say it almost warrants another watch, but I know you said in your blog post last week, teasing the blog a little bit there.
Right.
You say in your blog post last week that Promising Young Woman is the screenplay is actually one of the weaker parts of the film. And I think it warrants another watch for me personally to come to that conclusion. I'm just not quite sure. But yeah, I
don't mean it's bad. I would just say I think the general story is really there, and then the way we get to the ending can sometimes wander a little. And not that I really like that movie, and I'll probably have to rewatch it too. But
yeah, sure, yeah.
I would say it was still deserved though. Not to say that it was a bad script or anything.
No, certainly not. Emerald Fennell is actually she's quite charming.
Yeah, for sure.
I hadn't really seen any interviews conducted with her really prior to going into it, but I'm like, wow, she's really personable and quite gracious and funny.
Yeah, and it's great. Like I knew she was pregnant during the production of it, but like hearing her speak about that was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot imagine.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like really pregnant too, like 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild when you think about it. And that film was shot in 23 days.
Yeah, well, it couldn't have been much more, honestly.
Yeah, it really couldn't have.
I thought it was funny when she thanked her son for not coming early.
Yep.
And being timely. Well,
which is an odd parallel to something Daniel Kaluuya said a little bit later, but we'll get there.
Well, yeah. Oh gosh, I honestly forgot about his speech until you just brought it up. So, well, next we had the other screenplay category adapted. They figured they'd be right after each other. And we had excuse me. Wow. We had The Father. I was just so ingrained to say Nomadland for screenplay, but it didn't win. No, it got upset by The Father. Sam, what do you think here?
I did predict this one. This
Okay.
is the one I'm proud of. I did predict this way back when we did that one initial Oscars predictions episode. Because I think that was coming off of the watching The Father, and really the thing about that screenplay, I haven't even looked at it, and I probably should, but I gotta imagine that screenplay is so complex.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how anyone could read it and make sense of it. Really, you definitely need a well, obviously Florian Zeller wrote it and directed it, so he kind of had one comprehensive vision, and you almost need that because there would be so much lost in translation between the screenwriter and the director. Right. I mean, there's just so much there. We have different identities of different characters, different actors playing the same character. I mean, shifting at a time. It's really impressive.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on with that script, and it is a wonderful script and well deserved too. And you know, I'm glad that Nomadland didn't win this award. One, I don't think it's a super scripty movie. You know, it's a lot of plant the camera.
No, not at all.
Look at the screen. But two, you know, we knew Chloe Zhao was going to get her Oscar later in the night, so it was good to see somebody else get an Oscar too.
Yep.
So that was really nice. That was a good award, and you know, I predicted it wrong, but I was glad that I was wrong.
Yeah. You make a good point about Nomadland. I mean, there's just not that much dialogue.
No.
I mean, there's not that. I mean, that screenplay could be 20 pages long.
Yes, seriously. Yeah. So good for The Father. I'm glad it won that award. And Sam, I must say, this is when I, you know, I predicted Boseman the whole time, this entire year, and this was I saw that and I thought, man, this could go to Hopkins if they liked The Father, which clearly they did for giving it script. It could have gone to Hopkins, and we'll get there later. But so we moved on to international feature film, and you know, Sam, it's funny. I was half considering putting like $500 on the betting odds for this movie at 3-1 odds of putting $500 on this. I'd get $1,500, and this was the biggest lock probably of all time. I mean, you have another round sitting here with the 4 other movies, which I'm sure are all great, but another round was nominated for Best Director. Like this, there is no way this was not going to win. So was there, I mean, what's there to say about this? I
don't know if there's much to say about it at all. I mean, besides the fact that it is a strange movie for the Academy to award. Not to say that there was any surprise, obviously, but I mean, any other year, this would be a strange entry. The premise is just so whacked out and idiosyncratic.
Right.
We have 4 bored middle-aged men who decide to get drunk at work, like routinely. So, and I mean, it's a heck of a movie. It really is. It's just, I mean, everyone should see it.
Right. Well, it's an interesting.
I'm glad the Academy is rewarding good art.
Right. It's interesting that we have Roma winning 2 years ago. We have Parasite winning last year, and now we have another round. Like those, it almost just doesn't seem to fit with its 2 prior. And I know I said we wouldn't do industry news, but Sam, did you see Leonardo Dicaprio to produce and possibly star in another round remake that's in the language of English?
That would be good.
Yeah,
we haven't seen. Here's the interesting thing about that is we haven't seen Leo, even though he's 45 years old. We really haven't seen him play that middle-aged character yet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
he's going to be a middle-aged dad in this movie.
He's going to be a middle-aged dad, which will be so weird
to see Leo.
Because that's not something you can imagine very easily. Leonardo DiCaprio is a middle-aged dad, but he is now. So
slightly rumored too. So we'll see how that turns out. But moving on, we hit actor in a supporting role, And if international feature film wasn't the biggest lock of the night, this one was the second biggest lock of the night. So we had Kaluuya win. We all knew this was going to happen. I don't even know who would have come in second. Maybe
Lakeith.
I don't know. Nobody, honestly, nobody. So Kaluuya won. Great. I was so happy for him. Like, he got his Oscar. I mean, there's going to be more to come for this guy too. He is so talented.
Yeah.
And the speech, Sam, you mentioned it there. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know. Like, he was really into it. Let's just say that.
I just thought initially he was just very emotional, and emotion can do that to you. And then it just got weird. Like, I'm like, okay, weird. Yeah. Even an emotional person would not say something like this. It's like, where is your head at, man?
Oh yeah. Well, we saw the camera kind of cut to his mom and I assume sister or something in I think, was it the Dolby Theater?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think that's where they put the excess guests.
Yeah, it cut to them and you could hear or read his mom's lips saying, "What is he talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is he talking about?" But great for Lakeith. Sam, you texted me, great for Daniel Kaluuya. You texted me and said it rivals Joaquin's of last year. And which speech would you rather hear again in the moment?
Well, here's the thing with Joaquin, you knew that he was going to give the most, like you knew he was going to get up there and just be completely awkward and make everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But with Daniel Kaluuya, you don't know much about the guy. You just assume he's a normal guy in real life. And then he gets up there and says something like that. You're like, okay, maybe he's not so normal.
It was something. For sure. But I mean, we had our first interesting speech of the night. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
really our only interesting speech of the night. I was
going to say, I thought for the most part, the speeches were pretty good and nobody really overstayed their welcome too much. So that was nice.
Yeah.
We moved on to, we'll tackle these back to back. Makeup and hairstyling and costume design. They both went to Ma Rainey. I think, I mean, pretty sure this was expected.
Yeah.
Or at least I was expecting this.
Yeah.
And this is where I was thinking, Sam, because Ma Rainey was nominated for 5 awards. The 2 I just mentioned. Production design and then actor, actress. And I thought, man, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom could really get like potentially 3 or 4 awards here and not be nominated for Best Picture. Do you, I know we've talked about this, but do you think it should have been the 9th Best Picture movie, Sam?
I mean, yeah, sure. But then you could say, well, what would you kick out? And I'd be like, well, actually, Nomadland is probably what I would kick out of the nomination list. But
we remember though, you can do anywhere from 6 to 10 movies. We had 8 this year.
I guess so. That's fair. But I mean, I always err on the side of, why not have more nominees? It splits up the betting odds. It keeps things interesting.
Yeah.
It gives certain movies more recognition.
Agreed. I think that's what all is
they're deserving.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about too, is recognizing
right
the best movies of the year. So I don't know, just
getting people out to see them.
Right. So Ma Rainey wins both. Good for it. Great movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think we went right into directing after this, Sam.
Yeah. That was quite a jump.
Yeah. So interesting, because this is normally the 4th to last. We have director, then typically actor, actress. Maybe those are interchanged. I can't really remember. Then picture at the end, obviously. Mm-hmm. We jumped right into the director. What were you thinking when they did this, Sam? And obviously, Chloe Zhao won. We knew that was happening, but what were you thinking?
Yeah, it was just I couldn't believe I had to check my watch. I was like, we're here already. But yeah, it was kind of strange. The other thing, and this goes into again the fact that you don't really have a host. They give these kind of long-winded. These different presenters give these long-winded introductions to each category, and it's not always clear which
Category is being talked about.
Categories is being introduced. So, yeah, we went right into directing, and that was something. Even though Chloe Zhao was pretty obviously going to be the winner, Bong Joon-ho made an appearance.
Love that, man. That was so cool.
So that was something from Seoul, South Korea.
And for anyone who watched the Oscars last year, and you see Bong Joon-ho, and you're thinking, it's like, okay, where's his translator? And then it cuts to his translator, who we saw 4 times last year because he accepted 4 awards. That means she was up there translating 4 times. I saw her and I started clapping because I was like, yes, here she is.
There she is.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I love Bong, man. He's so cool.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I was glad that they were able to get him back to present the award.
For sure. That was
seemed fitting.
That was really cool. But yeah, that was an easy lock for the night. And this is, Sam, this is kind of where you were saying you thought it was gonna kind of be conventional for the rest of the night, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
we all did.
You give it to Chloe Zhao, you're like, well, director to best picture. I mean, that's the tightest connection of any Oscars ceremony.
Right.
The biggest correlation, I should say. So I'm like, yeah, Nomadland for best picture, and then the other ones basically as predicted. But no. Shortly after this, we get into interesting territory.
We do. Yeah, I can't really remember where it's going from here. I think we hit sound next. And
we hit sound. Yeah.
Okay, this is another.
Which was a weird kind of a strange transition from directing to sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I mean, we all knew Sound of Metal was winning this.
Yeah.
It's cool to have Riz Ahmed present it. He had a big smile on his face when he read the card. So that was cool. And yeah, this was kind of just backing your point earlier. It seemed like a pretty predictable night. So
did you think it was odd that Riz Ahmed, as someone who was nominated, was presenting like at the same ceremony?
Yeah, I don't know. Did they?
I thought that was strange.
Yeah, it might have been. Maybe they were just doing that because they knew Sound of Metal was winning. I don't know. It was a little odd.
Yeah. And this is something, actually, here's the other thing. This gets into an interesting conversation. Because Florian Zeller wins his adapted screenplay award at a separate location.
Mm-hmm.
At the separate location, he has his Oscar statuette in hand.
I thought about that instantly.
I did too. And this gets into, I always assumed that, obviously all of the members of the Academy are aware. And there's probably a lot of rumors and people whisper, and it becomes clear. But still, I always assumed that ideally all of the nominees were genuinely in the dark at all times.
You'd like to think so.
You'd like to think so. So for me, seeing Florian Zeller with his in like France or wherever he was, with his statuette, how did you feel about that, Will?
So I mean, yeah, we're kind of backtracking here, but yeah, this is a good conversation because
this reminded me. Sorry.
No, that's fine. They did not hand it to him until after he had earned his reward. But
yeah,
I mean, whoever gave him that statue was standing there with it. So I mean,
Yeah.
unless it like they just had a briefcase and it was closed and we didn't know what was in it. Like the award could be in here, Mr. Zeller, or it might be an empty briefcase. You decide. Like I don't really know. You know, that I saw that and instantly thought same thing you brought up, because I was like, okay, so did he know? Or I mean, some dude had to have handed that to him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why it's so strange. I don't know. But sorry, that reminded me, because we have Riz Ahmed presenting an award to the movie that he's nominated for, and it's kind of like, okay, how much does he know?
Yeah.
We know from years previously that the presenter more or less does not know what's in the envelope because of the iconic Best Picture screw up from 2017, 2018.
Yeah, 2017. 2016 movies, 2017 Oscars, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I would think Riz Ahmed did not know what was in that envelope. I bet he had a good idea, otherwise they wouldn't have handed it to him. But it's not like, all right, Riz, here's the award you'll be announcing. He opens it up. Soul wins Best Sound. Okay. Not the movie I'm in. Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be a punch in the gut, but
it would.
So from there, I think, Sam, we had a couple of the small ones. We had short film, animated short film. I think live action, documentary was in there.
Sure.
Like we had a bunch of the short ones. I'm not going to go over those. Congrats to the winners, though. We know you listen. Here was an interesting one, Sam, because we did cinematography, and I had written on the blog. I had said it seems weird to me that, I had predicted Nomadland, and I said it seems weird to me that Mank isn't going to win this because it's the black and white movie. It literally made Hollywood, or made to look like it was shot in 40s Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it did. It won it. And I couldn't have been more happy, because that's such a beautiful movie. And I was pumped when I saw that. And I just thought, oh, yes, one less award for Nomadland.
God. We really don't want to hate on Nomadland, but it's not that it's a bad movie. It's just that I like
that movie. I like it.
In a lot of the categories, it's just not, it just doesn't stack up for us. I mean, in cinematography, in the Best Picture category, which we'll go over. But yes, I agree. I think this did a nice job of kind of spreading out the awards. There wasn't one clean sweep, we had Mank goes home with cinematography and production design. So I mean, that's fair, because the movie is technically very beautiful.
Yeah, I was so glad it won that award.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more, but of course, I'm kind of biased towards Mank at this point.
I want. Oh gosh, who was the guy that shot that movie? Eric Messerschmidt. I'm glad he won for the sole reason of that dude had to deal with David Fincher's shooting style for probably like 3 months. So,
easily.
I'm sure that was miserable. And doing 100 takes for a simple, probably 4-second shot would just be terrible. So I'm glad that he won.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's Fincher is so it is strange to see Fincher there and not not too heavily involved. Like he's always sitting there at the Oscars. He's always around, but he finally makes this passion project that is actually palatable to the Academy. And he doesn't get any proper recognition, I feel like, but that's
Agreed. You mentioned it. Let's just go right to production design too. Mank's other award for the night. And is this just the Make Hollywood Look Like Older Hollywood award at this point? I mean,
It might be.
We had Mank this year, obviously. We had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last year. We had La La Land like 3 years ago, another Hollywood movie. Like this award is just Hollywood movies, which is it's fine if that's what they're after. But do you have any thoughts there?
I guess I didn't really make that connection, but you are right. I mean,
and Mank it literally looks like it was made in the 40s. So, and part of that is due to its production design. So it's well earned. I'll give it that. But it's just funny to me that the Oscars, the Academy cannot give this award to anything but a movie made on their home turf about their home turf.
Yeah, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood looks like it was shot in the 60s. So
exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I don't know what it is about Hollywood specifically that's so just I mean, I guess it's just a palatable thing to shoot. It's a very beautiful place.
Right.
But beyond that, do we really know why they're giving this award to the Hollywood movies? I don't know. But yeah, that is a good observation.
Well, from here, we had the Pixar Award. That being best
Pixar Award.
That being best. Yeah, I'm renaming it. That being best animated feature. It's safe to say we can already give this award to Luca, the new Pixar movie coming out this year. We gave it to Toy Story 4 last year. We gave it to Soul this year, and another Pixar movie nominated this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was also, it was a little competitive this year because, obviously Pixar had 2 movies out this year in 2020. So, I mean, it does get a little competitive there, but more competitive than most years.
Yeah, this is just a funny category at this point because, I mean, they win it more than half the time. So, right. I mean, deservedly, obviously. I'm not saying anything there. And Pete Docter, I mean, my goodness, that guy's probably been on that stage now 3 times, and well, not that specific stage, but the hypothetical stage, and he's more deserving of it every time too. So, yeah, great for him, and I hope he keeps turning out work like he did with Soul, because that movie is just, the more I think about it, is truly brilliant. And when I'm 50 and rewatching it, that's easily going to be my favorite Pixar movie. I already know it's not quite there yet, but
I don't know. The Incredibles, man. But we've talked about this ad nauseum. We've had our Pixar debate before, so yeah.
Yes. The next award, I believe, was documentary feature. We can slightly touch on one. That's fine.
Yeah, documentary short subject and then documentary feature. But
yeah, so we had documentary short subject went to, gosh, what was it? Colette, right. I did not have this one winning. So this was more a guess, but
how could you not know that?
I know. Tragic, really. But moving on. So feature is more interesting. Sam, did you watch any of these documentaries? I might have to check a few of them out.
Nope. My Octopus Teacher, though, that's an interesting title.
Yeah, and what do you think about a nature documentary winning? Because that does not happen often.
Yeah, I suppose that's a rare.
Yeah. Because most of the time, I feel like it's some really important, like, oh gosh,
like a social issue.
Social issue, exactly. Yeah, and this year it was a nature documentary, which is, I don't know, it felt a little refreshing, different, a different choice than they would normally choose. So that was cool.
Yeah. Intriguing looking movie. Good on Netflix.
Yeah, for sure. And This is kind of a good point to ask, Sam. As we, I think, transitioned into this moment where they were, they kind of did that little game with Low Ray Howard or Howery. I can't remember how to say his last name.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you think about that? We had him interacting with Andre Day. I'm sure his close friend Kaluuya and Glenn Close. That might have been my favorite moment of the night, was him and Kaluuya.
I mean, with Kaluuya, it was fun. After a while,
that was really funny, just because, he's like, I saved you once in the woods. You're saving me now. I don't know how much money ABC lost for that, but probably a lot. I thought that was so.
Yeah, that was quite funny. I just thought that a lot of that was just wasted runtime, personally.
Okay.
I mean, I was like, where is this coming from? All of a sudden, they cut back to Questlove at the DJ station. I'm like, wait. How long has he been there? And it's like, like, where did this come from? And it just felt out of place. It just didn't really.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it just added to the runtime, and I didn't really see a whole lot of utility in it.
Sure. All right, that's fair.
That's just me. I didn't really see what it had to do with. I mean, obviously the songs were featured in movies, the songs they were discussing, but I mean, beyond that, I didn't really see a whole lot of connection.
Glenn Close never gets her moment at the Oscars, so she got one. Let's just say that
she got a moment. I'm sure she was very appreciative of that moment, of all things. But
and I was going to ask because you mentioned songs. What did you think about the no performances this year of the songs? Did you like that? And the same with the scores, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always thought, like, in years past, like, I mean, I understand that the Oscars is a show, and I've talked about this extensively. Like, the Oscars are a show at the end of the day. Like, people want to be entertained by them, even though it's a long ceremony. But still, I never really got why there were live performances of songs at the Oscars. I just thought that, I'd be watching the Grammys if I wanted to hear music.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I mean, like I said, I felt like these Oscars were very brief compared to other years, and that's just my feeling. That's not me looking at runtime numbers, but yeah. I don't know. What'd you think?
I really missed the scores. I like last year they took like 2 minutes. They probably played 25 seconds of each of the 5 scores, and I missed that.
Yep.
I understand
that was cool.
They didn't probably have the room for, this big orchestra to be sitting in a pit somewhere. There wasn't a pit. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
So missed that. The songs I can do without, and those got played on the pregame Oscar red carpet thing. So that was fine.
Yeah.
So perfect. I thought I agree with you then. It was nice to cut a little bit of runtime out of there. And while we're talking about the songs, let's just go and score. Let's go over that. Soul wins score. Was there any thoughts there, Sam, on Soul winning score?
Yeah, that one was about as surprising as anything. Unsurprising as anything, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, was there any shock there? I mean, well deserved. There was nothing in The Five Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World that was memorable,
Right.
But when you think of Soul, you think of the score right away. I mean, it's such a crucial aspect of the story. It's integral to the story.
Soul relies on its score almost.
Yes.
Or
so it almost has to win by default.
Yeah, that was a good pick. Good speech too. That was a good speech. I like that one.
Mm-hmm. Excellent speech.
And Sam, this one shocked me. Original song.
Oh boy.
Not going to Leslie Odom Jr. Going to Judas and the Black Messiah song. I had never even heard it before.
Yeah, I wasn't aware there was a song. I listened to Speak Now by Leslie Odom Jr. from One Night in Miami. I thought it was, a fine song. I thought it was kind of generic, not particularly necessary, but yeah, good on him. So I didn't really have a dog in this fight. I will say though,
You're rooting for Husavik.
That's what they deserve. That's the real MVP right there. Husavik, my hometown.
Yeah, I can't remember if we said this on our reaction, nominations reaction episode, but when you go to Walmart and you see the Eurovision Song Contest story of Fire Nation beating Water Nation, when you go
in the clearance bin for like $2,
it's gonna say right on the top. It's gonna say Oscar nominee, and it's just, somebody's gonna go like, "Oh my gosh, this must be a good movie."
Will Ferrell in one of his more serious roles.
And they're going to pick it up and they're going to say, I got to check this out. And it'll be terrible. Oh man, that makes me laugh because some poor sucker is going to have to sit through 25 minutes of, they're not finishing it. They're going to turn it off, obviously. They're gonna have to sit through 25 minutes of Eurovision Song Contest. So, and I didn't know Rachel McAdams wasn't singing at the end. What? I didn't.
What, you mean she can't sing? Is that what we're finding out?
Oh gosh. Love Eurovision. Great movie. Great movie.
Excellent film. Second to only Hubie Halloween last year.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 punch for sure.
We love Netflix.
Oh gosh, for sure. Absolutely. So we go on to visual effects, and it's either gonna be the space movie or the Nolan movie. Sam, which one? It's because it's always one of the two.
I mean, this year they decided to go for the Nolan movie because we didn't even have any space movies nominated this year, did we?
The Midnight Sky.
Oh, that is a space movie, isn't it?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. It's like half Antarctica, half space. They decided, you know what? What if we just, smushed Alien and The Thing together, but made it super boring? And then you get The Midnight Sky.
And with no monsters.
No monsters, just a hallucinogenic little girl.
And a really bearded George Clooney.
Very bearded. He's very lonely. He's very decrepit. He's very
mysterious.
Very mysterious. Mysterious backstory.
So
he's a very serious man.
It's a bummer that just such a great movie like Midnight Sky does not get its Oscar, but Tenet gets it instead.
Yeah.
A Nolan movie is still getting praise. Sam, do you think this is deserved?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said both that it would win and that it deserves to win.
Yeah.
Because the lengths that they went to film that movie. I mean, they crashed an airplane, like a commercial airliner.
Yes.
Into a hangar and blew it up like in real life. I mean,
yeah, I think we talk about a space movies jokingly, but that's just such a boring pick for best visual effects. Tenet's really interesting in what it's doing with its visual effects. I don't love the movie, but like it's definitely a visual effects that we've never seen before.
Oh yeah. It's for sure. It's Nolan, so it's all practical and it you could watch that movie solely for the visual effects and get a lot out of it. Probably more than you would if you watch the movie for story structure or consistency. But yeah.
We move on to my favorite speech of the night, and that is a supporting actress. Going to Ye Jung-yoon. Great category. And such a great speech.
Yes.
The fact Brad Pitt obviously winning supporting actor last year, and the opposite gender always announces this year's award for the current actor actress.
Yeah.
And man, her saying, "Oh my gosh, Brad Pitt, it's so great to finally meet you." So funny, so awesome. And she walks off the stage with Brad Pitt in her left arm and her Oscar in her right arm, and that's one heck of a night. So
Yeah. We learned from a certain Spanish teacher last year. Do you remember this, Will? She had a friend who worked who was an agent in Hollywood. And the guy apparently has said that Brad Pitt is one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Like, genuinely, in real life.
yeah, I have a story about Brad Pitt actually. That's kind of interesting. Testifying to that.
Oh.
A third, not myself. Listening to another podcast actually, and someone kind of saying the same thing. He met him once. He works for Paramount, I believe, and was staying late one day, and Brad Pitt was on another lot, and somehow they ran into each other, and they just smoked a cigarette for 5 minutes together, and said he was like one of the nicest guys ever. So I completely believe that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, great.
Anyway,
Love
that was cool.
Loved that moment. Sam, would you have given it to someone else?
No, I don't think so. Not upon reflection here. I mean, her performance was so interesting. She was such an interesting character. And definitely not the usual mold of character for a Best Supporting Actress award, which I always appreciate. I like any kind of outside the box character that wins. So, I think it's completely deserved. I really do.
Good. Well, our final award, before the big three, we had film editing, going to Sound of Metal as well. So Sound of Metal picking up 2 Oscars, like many movies last night. What do you got here, Sam? It's interesting that it didn't go to Trial of Chicago 7, because typically the Oscars like, the fast cuts, but not this year, I guess.
Yeah, I actually saw this going to Promising Young Woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that there's something technically about Promising Young Woman that I think Carey Mulligan remarked on in an interview, which was the editing style and the aesthetic of it was to look very idyllic and kind of an overexposure of bright colors and everything to kind of tell this really twisted and dark tale,
Sure.
And I thought the editing really reflected that. The editing was quick, interesting, and it really stood out to me when we initially reviewed it. I think I talked about it a little bit, but yeah, I saw this going to Promising Young Woman. So, I mean, Sound of Metal, from a visual standpoint, I didn't see a lot of interesting stuff from what I remember. Obviously deserves sound because, it's right in the title, but
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. It's just one of those categories that I'm not particularly passionate about, but
yeah, editing is definitely an interesting one. It often pairs with picture, and it's a tough one to predict because I feel like with editing, the only time you notice good editing, or the only time you notice editing, period, is if it's like the greatest editing ever or literally the worst editing you've ever seen. So it's a tough it's something really tough to pick out in a movie. So
yeah, it's not appreciated if it's just adequate,
right? Most of the time,
it really has to stand out.
Most of the time, you're right. It's just like cutting between scenes, and there we go, we edited it. But yeah. So it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting category that's tough to call for sure.
And I think it's an art form that people can't really appreciate properly.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Sam, do we want to do the actors first or picture? Well, let's go in the order.
Stay with the order. Stay with the order.
Okay, so we go to picture next, and here this is where I was like really surprised. I'm like, what are we doing at this point? Why are we talking about picture? Like this is the final award, and no surprises. It went to Nomadland. What are your thoughts?
I just still don't understand this. I mean, I know it was people were betting their life savings on it, and probably wisely so, but man, I don't understand it. I don't understand why, when you stack it up with things like The Father or Judas and the Black Messiah or Mank or Minari, or Trial of Chicago 7 even, I don't understand what the Academy sees in it. It's a relatively low budget, interesting, kind of meandering film. It still feels very niche to me. Like, it doesn't feel like a full-throated Hollywood production. But yet here we are. So
yeah, I had three thoughts like that happened instantly. The first one was, this is just kind of a boring pick, like you were saying. I mean, of the 8 nominations, this is my 7th favorite. So yeah, that's just interesting that I would have picked 6 other movies over this one, and that's fine. We have differing thoughts there, but
yeah,
it is what it is. You know, I don't often align with what my favorite is in terms of the award actually going there. But my second thought is, which then got proven wrong. I thought, is Nomadland gonna win Best Picture with only 2 awards, Best Director and Best Picture?
Yeah, that's quite strange.
Because I was like, there's no way Frances McDormand is winning actress. I thought that, and my third reaction was not even to Nomadland winning, but to it being announced before actress and actor. Was that, oh my gosh, they're having actor as the final category, and they're going to have a moment for Chadwick Boseman. I was like,
right.
You know, I had teased earlier in this recording that I kind of thought right off the bat of Florian Zeller winning Best Adapted Screenplay that Hopkins might win. And then I thought, when this happened, I'm like, okay, Boseman's winning. Like, so I was going back and forth on things, and you know, I just didn't know. I was so young and naive. But
yeah, sure.
So we enter actress, and I'm thinking, Sam, I'm like, this is realistically a 4-horse race. I mean, I'm like, I think Andra Day could win. I think Carey Mulligan could win. I think Viola Davis could win. I think Frances McDormand could win. I didn't really think Vanessa Kirby could win. Great performance, but I didn't really see that happening.
Yeah, I forgot she was around.
So she was there, but
but
didn't really see
she was
her
at the guest table in the corner,
right,
with no lights.
And I had been going Carey Mulligan all the way, so I'm thinking I'm ready to hear her name. And they said Frances McDormand, and I couldn't believe it. What are your
thoughts? Another one of those. It's another one of those instances where it's like, okay, like, I was freaking out. There happened to be people in the room when this happened. No one was paying attention but me, of course, because no one else pays attention to these things.
Right.
I started freaking out. People just kind of latch on and be like, oh, wow, that's ridiculous, because they haven't seen any of the movies. Wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I love Frances McDormand.
Oh, so I love her. Trust me. So do I.
I would do anything for her. But I mean, this just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Even that, I don't think she gave, like,
oh my gosh, she didn't care at all. She got up there and did not care. She didn't.
I was going to talk about her performance too, but like, when you stack this up to Fargo or 3 Billboards, you know, it's like her performances. You're like, it's just not even in the same. It's not in the same universe. It's not not the same ballpark, you know. And then she gets up there, gives like a 3-sentence speech, and says, "Yeah, okay," and just leaves.
She didn't look excited at all. Which
No.
whatever. I mean, you have 2 of them already.
Yeah.
So, and hey, there you go.
She now joins an elite class.
It is tough to win 3 Oscars. It is really hard, and she did it.
Let me look at the.
Look that up. That's one of the reasons I thought she wasn't going to win. It's just like she has 3 Oscars or 2 already. There's no way she's going to get a 3rd.
Yeah.
And throw that thought bubble out the window, because that's no longer a thing for the Oscars. They don't care how many you have.
Yeah.
I just simply don't think it was better than Mulligan's performance. I think Carey Mulligan is doing a lot in that movie. She's playing a really twisted, really dark, but really vulnerable character. And that's hard to do. And I think she did it so well. And
with an American accent too. I mean,
yeah, it just blows my mind that she didn't win. And like you said, I love Frances. And I think in 20 years, I'm going to look and say, man, I'm so grateful that Frances McDormand has 3 Oscars, because she deserves it. If not for this award, just like her career, you know, or this movie, but her career in general. But it just wasn't this one. And I don't know. That's my thought. I now have a greater understanding as to why they gave Nomadland Best Picture. I mean, they love that movie, clearly.
Yeah, I again don't know what it is, but hey, it did well. It did well. Will, can you guess how many actors and actresses together have won 3 or more Oscars?
Well, I know Streep has 3 exactly.
Yep.
Gosh, I don't. So who else?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, I blanked. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, we know that. Jack Nicholson, obviously.
Yep, of course.
Which, to your point about looking back on this and saying, you know, she'll have, you know, she has 3 Oscars, which is a good indicator of her career, not necessarily of the roles that she won the Oscars for.
As good as it gets.
I feel the exact same thing about Nicholson, as good as it gets. Terms of endearment, you know.
Yeah.
Deserved it for Cuckoo's Nest, but you know, that's besides the point. Now, interesting point. The late Katherine Hepburn won a record 4, which I did not know anyone did, but wow.
Point being, it is so hard to do. And
so rare.
I mean, good for her, great for her, but I don't know. Again, it's a good performance. Don't get me wrong. It's a great performance, really.
Yeah.
I think the thing with it was like, it just wasn't the one I chose. So wasn't the one I would have chosen. So I was slightly bummed, because I was just like, man, this just, I don't know. Maybe it's just Nomadland, to be honest. I have no idea.
It could have been.
But we move on to the final, or do you have any other thoughts on actress? Stan?
I really don't. It kind of is what it is.
Yeah. And that same with this next category. We moving on to actor. Like I said, I thought this was going to be Boseman's to win for the whole time, and then as soon as they put it at the end of the show, I thought, oh man, now it's definitely his to win.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It went to Hopkins, and I was just like, then why did they have this be at the end? He's not even here to accept it. Like,
that was the most anticlimactic thing ever. And the fact that they had Joaquin Phoenix presenting it made it even more just odd.
Oh gosh,
the show ends.
Yeah, it ended so quick. Like, almost like they wanted to, like, I know they were overtime, but almost like they were compensating, like, we need to get the heck out of here.
Maybe they just like changed the awards at the last. They're just like, oh, never mind. We need this to end. Okay, so but speaking of foreknowledge of your own win, your own Oscar win. Hopkins obviously had no prior knowledge that he would be winning an Oscar that evening, because as I mentioned last week on the show, he was in Wales, in some field, middle of nowhere, and my guess is he probably wasn't even watching. That'd be my guess.
I don't know. Did you see his acceptance speech that he posted?
I did. I saw his little 30-second.
Yeah, that's funny.
Standing in the field. Thank you. This really belongs to Chadwick Boseman. I don't know why you gave it to me, but thank you.
Yeah. And look, I think this should have gone to Boseman. Hopkins gave a great performance, and that's my number 2, obviously. And I will not be upset in years to come that Hopkins won, because it is so deserved. Like that performance is really something special.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm really not even that bummed that Chadwick didn't win, because it's more just the award in time doesn't mean really anything. It's more just a celebration, and what Boseman stood for and what Boseman did is much more than a trophy with his name on him, or with his name on it. Yeah. I was more surprised, because you said this, Sam, I think last week. I just don't think they'll pass up the opportunity to have a nice moment. The Oscars is so like that. Yeah. That I'm surprised they didn't fall for it like many other awards did. So
yeah, I was expecting, Boseman's widow to get up there, or have some pre-filmed video, accepting the award and sort of sentimental moment, and then we nicely drift off into the credits and the evening is over. But no, I was just Anthony Hopkins, who is not here, the end. It's kind of how it went.
Right.
And it was bizarre.
And something I wanted to mention too, but I forgot. The In Memoriam felt so weird too. It was so quick. Oh my gosh.
It was.
I know there was a lot of names and not a lot of time, but oh my gosh, you couldn't even read the names.
No, you couldn't. Yeah, it was so strange. So strange. It was just a weird year.
Yeah,
it was a weird
year. For sure. But that's it. We talked about every category. Well, nearly. The
important ones.
Yeah. the ones we care about. Sam, any last second thoughts about the ceremony or
yeah, I just think that it was so weird, because it was half of the night was spent with the most predictable wins ever, and then at some point it just shifts.
Yeah,
and
it really did.
We have a string of just bizarre, out of the box wins, which made for good entertainment, a good show, and a lot of them were really deserved. And I liked this year that we mentioned before, there really wasn't a clean sweep. One film really took home anything. I read an article this morning, Nomadland sweeps at the Oscars. It's well, not exactly.
It won 3 awards. Yeah.
They were big awards, but it wasn't a sweep.
It won the most in only 3. I mean, we have years where we see movies win 7, so 3 is not that many at all.
No.
So yeah, I would say it was a good night. There was a few bumps in the road. Sam, I don't know if you're aware about it, but the 93rd Academy Awards is on Letterboxd.
Oh,
and check out its rating, because it's a 1.5. I don't know if people were just upset with who won and who didn't, but just funny.
Oh, that's quite funny. Yeah.
But we're on to a new year now. Hopefully even a better one than last year. We said it. Last year was not a bad year, just a weird year.
Yeah.
So this year, let's see if it'll top it.
Yeah, one can hope. One
Right.
can hope.
Right.
So with that, we put 2020 behind us,
Right.
and we're on officially to 2021.
Yeah, officially. Except we're gonna do 4 more 2020 wrapped up episodes. We
Oh well,
really wanna
I mean,
put
yeah.
out there. So,
I mean,
no,
of
just
course.
kidding. But Sam, with that being said, where can I find you on Letterboxd?
If you're looking, you can find me at letterboxd.com/sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will Spalding?
You can find me on Letterboxd at Will Spalding, and you can find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds. You can find us at, if anyone didn't listen to last week's episode, you can find us on our newly established blog where we each have blog postings now. At thosefilmnerds.weebly.com. And you can find us at all podcast platforms at Those Film Nerds, and Those Film Nerds on Instagram, and thosefilmnerds@gmail.com. If you have any related movie questions or thoughts, send them in. But until next time, Sam.
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, laptop, or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and much, much more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. So give it a try.